Oh, okay, hang on. I changed my mic out, and hopefully it's not terribly quiet. Looks like it might be terribly quiet. But hey, everybody! Welcome to Rehash tonight. Got a little small crowd, small group. It's been a bit of a somber day. Somber or frantic. What kind of person you think? We've got Luke here tonight. Hey, Luke! What's up?
Yeah, nothing much. Yeah, no comment on certain events transpiring as we speak.
We went live a little bit later because we were just chatting about it a teeny bit, but we didn't want to because
That is not this kind of show right now.
I'll rehash the roles. We could rehash anything.
Right.
But we won't. Go into it. First question. Oh.
You lose it.
I've lost the question.
Oh, jeez.
Alright, I'll just read it. Be on the stream. So this first question is drift. Yeah, Kadiak situation.
Ooh. So Drift kind of has mixed feelings about Maeve in general because he obviously is very of the woods and of nature, and his first impression of Maeve was like, oh, this witch who lives in the woods, you know, she kind of is like, does all this weird nature stuff like me. But then she asked him for a shadow, and he was like, this is very uncomfortable. I don't know how to feel. So I think the best way to sum it up is just Drith is just cautious about the eye and the eye patch. He doesn't, he likes Kadiak a lot. He feels like there's a lot he can learn from Kadiak, but he's definitely a lot more cautious when talking to Kadiak now because he knows Maeve is always, or always could be listening in via the eye.
I just realized my camera was in backwards.
Oh.
I'm probably a bit louder now. Yeah, a
Wow,
lot louder now. The new camera is a new microphone. I don't know what I'm doing. That's my excuse. There we go.
I thought you just wanted to show off the logo.
Yeah, I know. There we go. Okay. Yeah, when you said, she asked for his shadow, now that we know that there is a ritual of shadows, does that give you extra concern?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Drith is innocent, but he's not dumb. And so he's kind of he's making assumptions. So who knows what Patrick actually has planned. But the fact that, there are 6 items and one of them being a shadow, and Drith was asked for his shadow, he feels a little cautious, a little worried about all that.
Yeah, there was so there's breath, there's shadow, there's flesh, there's heart. Heart?
Yeah, something like that.
Hang on, I'll grab my buttons.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe Maeve is going to summon Captain Planet eventually. Who knows?
Your powers combined. Okay, here we go. I did take about breath, bone, flesh, sight, heart, and shadows.
I mean, yeah, it seems... This is Luke theorizing, but it seems like there's there's 6 of us, there's 6 different things. One of those things was an eye. It seems like everyone's may have something to contribute. That's just the theory.
What if we find out that Morphus is actually the good guy?
Oh, yeah.
And Silhan is actually the worst.
You would be the one to suggest that, wouldn't you?
No, it's well, I guess so. Considering that happened on Monday, yeah, maybe. But I actually totally have this theory now. Like, now that we found out that the Dark Priestess is not actually affiliated with the Profane Guard, that maybe she's not a bad guy. Maybe she's a good guy, and she's like, I want y'all to help me get rid of this stuff. And she is not.
That's an idea.
That's just a theory I have. I still will kill her the second I see her. But that is a theory that I have, is that at least that's the tactic that she will use on us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that for sure.
So cautious about the eye.
Yes, very cautious.
Next
Very cautious.
question. This one is from Brayden. Where do you, Luke, as a player, think that Drith's dad is?
Ooh, I'm picturing. I'd have to have the map up, but I think it's probably somewhere up north. That's what feels right to me. I mean, essentially where Greenland would be in the Earth equivalent.
Do you think he's on a
it seems
different
like there's a lot of-
continent?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Like on another continent. Like, it feels like there's a lot of important things that happen up north. Like for me, I think like Final Fantasy VII, like the Northern Crater, right? I mean, I bet Drith's dad is doing something really cool up there.
It did sound like he was doing something important. And it sounded like it's probably good.
It sounded like it's probably good. Drith is hoping it's good. Luke is skeptical, but still hoping it's good.
Have these thoughts of like, what are our friends and family doing? Are they
right?
I don't have any more trust in anything that Patrick does. But at least you know that he's alive, right?
I know
that's
he's
good.
alive. That's really important.
At least for now.
For now. Hopefully things will change very soon. Hopefully Patrick doesn't do a huge bait and switch. It's like, your dad's alive. Just kidding. You found his grave. Here are his bones.
Or you get there like right before he dies.
Yeah.
Or like right after. It's like his last words are echoing in the wind as you walk up. Just like, oh, dang.
Rats. There goes my life's purpose right now.
Yeah, do you think... So that is definitely Drith's main motivation. That was his motivation for leaving. Is that still his main motivation for his actions, or is he kind of set that on the back burner for a while?
He's set that on the back burner. Right now, he can tell that everything that's going on... I think I saw a question there about like how does he feel about the Profane Guard stuff, and I think that this is a good time to bring it up, where Drith is very... just doesn't have like any clue about all the religious implications, because this entire continent, it seems like, is built off of the main religion of the area, and everything is kind of based off of the inner workings of the clergy. And Drith has no idea. He's completely foreign to all of this, and so he knows that like stuff is happening that's really important, because that's really important to his friends, and it seems like they have a really, or that they're really determined to solve everything, and he knows there's tons of beef with everyone in the Profane Guard. So he's going along mostly just for his friends right now, and kind of like, we'll probably come across my dad sometime, just follow the wind, and something will turn up and happen.
So go ahead.
Oh yeah, and that just goes along with his other main motivation, which is to learn about like art and architecture of other cultures, so that he can eventually make the best shrine to his dragon god when he gets home. So anywhere that leads him to different places with different people fits right into his goals.
So you were saying like he's doing a lot of this for his friends right now. So there's not necessarily a big like, oh, I want to save the world, I want to like fix these big problems.
No, they're not for Drith. He's never really considered himself to be like a huge hero or anything. He's just kind of like, I want to protect my friends and have a good time with them, and do what's important to them, because I know that they've helped me out.
I wonder how unique that is, because I know that it is very much the same for Jelania. There's not like, oh, I'm going to go save the world and make a difference. Like, not at all, not a thing. But I wonder if that is the case for a few people in the party. If I had to guess, I feel like maybe Artyom. I don't know. He just seems like, I am the hero. Huzzah! Let's go.
Like Artyom's quest, and everyone's just kind of like, yeah, this is great.
Just around with the sidekicks. Don't you know? But that does kind of go into one of the other questions. There was the one from Braden about thoughts on the Profane Guard and the party being chased by them. But there's also one that I had, which Drith appears very straightforward and uncomplicated. We've talked about that. That's not necessarily 100% the case, but he also seems fairly unbothered by stuff. How well has he been handling being in a group of people with so many secrets and conflicts, and then also being dropped into the middle of this incredibly complex plot to resurrect a dragon god?
Drith definitely feels like the pressure of it all. Like, he definitely knows, like, there's a lot of different feelings and forces going on in the group. He's almost like an idealist. Like, he kind of has this vision right now of, like, I just want our group to stay together and to be happy. So he's kind of upset when, like, people keep secrets that he feels are very important. Like with Artyom and I forget the creature's name in the end.
Oh,
he wasn't like super happy with that.
The dumb boy.
The dumb boy. Yeah, thank you. Other things though, he understands like why people would keep things a secret. Like with Piotr being like having murdered in the past, like he knows like that's obviously something that murder's wrong no matter where you go. So that's some kind of like area where you want to tread lightly. Though he's not shy about asking like, how'd it go? But as far as especially like with characters like Zhelanya, who he knows are very private, he doesn't find that to be distasteful. You know, being private is different than keeping secrets, if that makes sense. And he can tell the distinction between like keeping secrets that are harmful versus just being like, I don't want to share my childhood trauma, even though Drith doesn't have a problem doing so.
You just don't know it yet. You don't know how bad it is.
That's true. Very true.
And apparently there's something about Artyom too that's just a problem, according to the Narc Spear.
Narc Spear.
That's definitely a moment of like, oh really? It's like Patrick just like, you're taking too long. Here's something to make things happen. Yeah, that was another question also about how Drith feels about Piotr being a murderer and hanging out with a murderer. It seemed like most everyone was just kind of like, we understand, it's fine. Is that the case with Drith? Yeah,
Drith definitely has his own kind of like moral compass, and he knows that that's not a good thing, to put it lightly. But he's also very aware of the fact that he doesn't understand all the customs of this land and like all the laws, like whether, you know, he doesn't know whether it'd be right for Piotr to just go and turn himself into the authorities first thing, or if it's kind of like, all right, like you murdered someone while you're drunk, but no one cared about the guy anyway, so we're just gonna overlook this. But he definitely does, like, he feels affected by it. He kind of is like a little, it makes him a little bit uncomfortable, knowing that Piotr has ended someone's life, you know, for not really a good reason. But at the same time, I don't think that makes him look down on Piotr. Like, he also understands that Piotr was very drunk at the time, and while that doesn't justify it by any means, he's also kind of like there's bigger problems right now, you know, and I'm just gonna try to do what makes me happy, and right now that's making flutes and trying to be good at the flute.
In terms of people killing people, I think that up until last week, we hadn't in-game killed a person. everything that we'd fought was like zombies or monsters of some sort until we fought the Profane Guard guys near their camp. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure Artyom killed the one guy that he had cast fast friends on. I don't remember who killed the other. He was interrupted watching it. Yeah, is that something that's going to end up weighing on him, that he took a life? Has he taken a life before?
He has not taken a life before, but he it's not really going to weigh on him, because at the same time he knows that this person attacked Owlister.
Oh, okay.
And that to Drith is very like calm and straightforward usually, but I don't think we've seen this yet. But something that's etched deep into his character is a love for nature, and for anyone who will attack nature or anything like natural, then he has no problem retaliating against that.
So no regret, no remorse, no nothing, not even like weird thoughts at all about it. Just like, he hurt my bird.
Yeah. Drith is very much like 2 + 2 = 4. Therefore,
not a lot of dwelling on the past.
Right. He ended my bird. He will kill my friends if I don't stop him. So I must stop him.
Uncomplicated. Very straightforward.
Yep.
All right.
Drith.
Going back a little bit, Drith was called a heathen by Bishop Ivor and told he shouldn't speak in the Church of Silhana. Has Drith experienced prejudice like this before? How does it, or did it, affect him?
Great question. A little bit of Drith history here is that Drith, I know we mentioned it like really early on in the beginning of the Ready to Roll, but Drith has grown up the only half-elf in an entire, I don't know the right word for it, convent, I guess? I don't know. Essentially, this old group, a conclave of elf druids. And so he was really looked down upon for having a human father. But his mother was the leader of all these elves, and so no one really said anything, but he experienced prejudice and a lot of like really not polite, whatever, like not tactful, whatever that kind of
aloof
feeling is. Yeah, exactly. These little subtle ways. So he's experienced prejudice all his life, and so, you know, and he's kind of, obviously, you can tell Drith has like a lot of issues with like self-worth. he constantly brings up his stepdad and all the issues there. And so he kind of deals with it his own way of just kind of trying to be happy-go-lucky and cheerful. But it really does hurt him and affect him. If you notice, for the rest of the conversation, Drith was quiet, and it's because his entire life he was kind of like almost beaten into submission of like, if I'm better than you, then you need to stay down.
Oh man. So when you asked, when we found out about Corvitt's ancestry, like, does being a noble make you better than someone else? It's kind of like a meaningful thing to him.
Exactly. It was really important because he wanted to know where he stood in relation to the Corvitt. You know, because until that time, you considered Corvitt a good friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just wanted to make sure, like, okay, do I need to, like, be submissive to you?
I don't think that you have said before that your mom is, like, in charge of the group. So it's another, like, important person's kid, nobility's kid in the party that makes, like, 60% of the party. Some noble person's kid. Sorry, Adam, if you're here. I don't know if it's nobility or elf nobility, but it's something. Oh, man. Dang. Is there anything else you wanted to say about that, or should we move on to a different one?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, I guess we only have really one more, and then we'll just kind of talk about other things that have been going on in the party and the story and stuff. This is from Braden. What is the most surprising thing Drith has discovered on his journey so far?
Oh. It's gotta be that he can't trust anyone named Leo. I think the thing that stuns him the most is the prejudice, the religious prejudice. His god Hesperum is a very like kind of like nature's like when you think of like a nature god and like let nature have its way and just kind of death is death, life is life, all living things die and that's okay. Like this very free kind of god. When you learn like all these things of like, well, because these people follow I can't remember the main god's name, but the
Silhana.
it's Sahana, yeah. Because you have this patriarch or whatever who follows this god in a certain way, who has ascended up through the ranks, like that makes him an authority. And Drith is like, that doesn't make much sense, or especially being looked down upon, because he's a heathen. That really has been weird for him. He thought religions were just kind of like, yeah, people do their own thing and that's okay. We got Kadiak who crushes skulls and that's great.
Just so wonderful.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I feel like that is a really good perspective to bring in to the party, because like 4 of the party members are more Viren specifically. It's just you and Kadiak that aren't, right?
Yeah.
So and it seems like he's got a very sort of rigorous background of just like, the tribe is like this. This is what it's like, and it's just like this. And so having this much more free person to be like, I'm going to question your long-held institutions or whatever. That doesn't seem right to me. I think it's really fun to deal with. Having those little notes. Go ahead.
Seeing Kadiak do that to other members of the party because of their religion, like, oh, these uncultured, or these unruly people. It's really interesting to try to see that from Drith's eyes.
There was a moment just last week where I think it was when we were like traveling out in the wilderness or something, and Kadiak said something about like how Mordvirans are really barbaric and like murderous, and how it's so hypocritical of them to be like that because that's how they view the Norseans or whatever. I was like, like everyone's the same and everyone thinks the same thing about each other. And then there's just Drith who's like, everyone's great, everyone's just fine.
Everyone follow their gods and everything, and
even if your god's not so great, it's fine, right? Cool. Is there other things? Because I will be perfectly honest, I was in the midst of making these questions when everything went down this afternoon, so my brain kind of melted, and I don't necessarily have other questions.
I know that I saw Ian ask about like, what are Drith's feelings on Piotr, or what does Drith think about Piotr? And we talked about like, Drith, obviously dealing with the fact that he's a murderer, but I think Piotr and Drith have a really interesting relationship because Drith respects the arts so much, because where he comes from, like the reason his mom became the leader is because, not because of an election or anything, but just because she made the most beautiful, elaborate shrine to Hesperum. And everyone there just always makes shrines, whatever they may be, like whether, you could build a pile of rocks and call it a shrine. But the more artistic it is, the more respect you have in the community. So, if you have Piotr, who went to school and studied being a bard, and does his own art form in terms of music and poetry. And so to Drith, that is like the epitome of a respectable person to him, much more than any sort of like being born nobility or anything. So Drith kind of like looks to Piotr as a mentor, a cross between a mentor and an older brother. And he kind of looks to Corvette in a similar regard in terms of like just like an older brother, someone to help kind of guide him along this really strange path that he's taken. So I think that's a really interesting dynamic with all the other group members.
Would Drith ever have any interest? Because like Piotr went to a bard college. He went to school to learn that, and we were in the town where he went and learned that. Would he even considering everything that went down there, and we can't go back there or we'll be murdered by people, would Drith ever want to go back there and go to school and
that's a good question.
do some of that?
I don't think so. I don't think Drith would do well having a formal education. I think he's too much of a free spirit. Like, he kind of is like, even though I have things I can learn, like I can learn the basics of, music from Piotr. Once I have the basics, I want to make my own sort of music and do what I feel is right. Less than like, I want to be right by the standards that, this bard school has set. That's a really interesting question. I never thought about it that way. That's cool.
They go. It's there. It's available.
That's right.
Maybe. I don't know if they would accept you. They'd just be like, you're a heathen. Go away.
You're a heathen. And
those are weird.
a big magic user.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I have feelings. I have thoughts and feelings. I have, like, planned a bunch of, like, rants and stuff. Where, like, if something happens, that I can just be ready to, like, go off. Yeah, I have thoughts. Mordvir is not a great country. It's not a great place. It's got a lot of issues.
Yeah. Lots of issues, pretty rough, pretty prejudiced.
Yeah. We should all move to... I don't know anything about any other countries, so I can't say. I don't know.
Yeah, Drith didn't have a great experience back home. So.
Everywhere just sucks. We'll go make our own country.
Drith will live with his dad.
Oh.
You hear that, Patrick? Drith wants to live with his dad.
First question: can I crash on your couch for a few weeks?
That's right.
Can my friends also crash on the couch?
Please.
I had a thought of a question or something that we can talk about. What do you expect to find when we get to Cordovan, place that we're going to?
Luke knows about as much as Cordovan as Drith does, which is to say nothing. I'm hoping for lots of clues about what the heck is going on. Because the last I remember, the biggest clue we found was a lady in a mural who can reach out and grab people and suck out their souls.
It's great.
Or life energy or whatever it was. So, I don't know. That's a really good question. Hopefully a good bath. Drith always enjoys a good bath. And lots of action. That's what Drith kind of hopes for. What about Jelania? Question for you is she ever gonna reveal her full name?
Yes. Yeah, that's for sure. Probably not too far away, honestly. She's starting to feel guilty about like being the way she is, because everyone's so nice, and not everyone's so nice. Drith is very nice, Corvit's very nice, and for the most part, people being extremely open about their stuff and their past or whatever starts to make her feel bad about not doing that. So it'll come out.
It was interesting editing. I'm still in the midst of editing the first episode. To hopefully put it in podcast form. But hearing everyone's kind of their initial like what's going on and the first things they say, it's really funny how you're like, and my name is Anya. we're like, yeah, okay. Sounds good.
The second I said that, I was like, frick, that's in her name. Like, that's not a good hidden name. I should have gone with, like, Anastasia or something, like, way different than her actual name. Really fun, like, absurd anecdote sort of thing. I love ASMR videos, and one of my favorite ASMR content creators is Russian. She's lived in the US for, like, a decade, but she is Russian, and she occasionally will make videos in Russian, and I was watching one the other day, and in the middle of the video she said Zelenya, and I was like, oh dang.
No.
What the heck? Because
it
is Zelenya is the Russian word for desire. That's what it is from. So really? I don't know what she was talking about, but I was like, I know that word. I know that word. Yeah, fun tip for everybody. If you need Russian stuff, you go Zelenya the bathroom, Zelenya the train station. Wow. I desired the train station. That's not the way you say it, but yeah. So that was a fun moment. I was like, hey, you know that? It's not a made-up name.
Wow. Yeah, I can book a flight to St. Petersburg now. Man.
For sure. Yeah. No, I feel like to some degree we kind of do know what's going on. At least in my assumption, the Profane Guard is trying to do these 6 sacrifices and end the world, basically.
Right.
So the question now is, do we feel like we can do anything about that? And if so, then what? So I feel like Jelania's personal view on the first question is no, we can't do anything about it.
That's so Jelania.
I mean, no way could we do anything about it. This dark priestess was able to be like, 6 random people living their lives. I'm just going to take them from their lives and just do whatever I want to them. And every single time we start to feel like we know what's going on, or like that we're safe in a spot or we're doing something, it is instantly and immediately taken away. We have no control over our lives. We have no control over anything that we're doing. So why would we think we possibly have any ability to do anything for anyone? You know, it's a fantastical, like, dream to think that you could control your own life. So if someone's like, oh yeah, do you want to go save the world? Why? Like, I can't. No, that's not gonna work.
So. I hope Jelania and Drift get like a fireside chat some night about like their views on fate in the world, because that would be really, really interesting. I feel
Theological
like
chat.
Just...
No, I actually I write down in my notes like stuff that I want to do, like plans that I have or whatever, and I have in here, ask Drift how to be happy. Which is such a sad thing to write and to ask, but that is in there. I imagine it might change. That was something I wrote down like a month and a half ago, so maybe something else will come up, but it does need to happen. I do kind of have, I need to say this in-game and to Patrick, but Patrick's here, so he could be aware of it now. She's gonna try and embroider like all the time. So whenever there's, like, she can't do it while she's on watch, because then she's not actually watching, because it's not very... can't really watch while you're doing it. So it would be, you know, if we're cycling through watches each night, then once out of every 3 nights she'll have a night where she's not on watch, and she'll just take like the first watch of the night with whoever is watching, and she'll just do that. So that's what was happening when you got attacked by rabbits.
Yep. Oh, that was a traumatic event for Griff. I wonder if that's what planted the seed for me to have Tamper, the little gnome I created for
Yeah.
for Lydia's campaign, to be all about like embroidery and clothing and everything.
Oh, I love Tamper.
That'd be really cool.
Great.
Yeah, rest in peace.
He's not dead. Well, no, he might be dead. If you want to know about that, stay tuned, and I'll be talking about that later. But cool. Is there any last stuff we want to talk about before we end?
Don't think so. Really pumped to see what's gonna happen next. The story is very, very intriguing, and especially since we're all like leveling up and getting new powers, it's really fun. I'm really glad that Drift has an owl now. That really makes me happy.
That's the cutest thing. Owlister. I kept thinking Owlbert today. No, Owlister.
That's a good one.
Just in case if you need to replace him with something else.
Yeah, thank you, Tasha's.
Good book, Tasha's. Where that bait and switch one came from that saved your life. All right. Well, I think we're gonna wrap that up for the night. Thanks for coming, Luke. This was great.
Thank you.
And I'll see you next week. Next week. I don't think we've got any other plans, and we'll deal with the mural lady. Probably.
Good luck.
Or we'll all die.
All right.
All right. See y'all in a minute. Come back with Chalk and Aaron. Bye.